Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for GMAT. We have been solving GMAT math problems out of this book here, GMAT Review, the official guide, the 13th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we are about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 288. Please turn to it, page 288, second problem on the page, number 142. And today is our lesson number 198. 198, let's see what it has to say. It says that we tossed a coin a number of times. Obviously we do not know, they don't tell us how many times the coin was tossed. They do tell us that we had 4 more heads than tails. The question simply is how many heads we had. It's a very simple, very straightforward problem. Let's see what they tell us. It's very simple, very straightforward problem because we're just dealing with 2 simple variables. With 2, so as you can tell from it, we're going to deal with probably a couple of linear equations. Let's see what they tell us. The player tossed the coin 24 times. Alright. So we tossed for a total of 24 times. Therefore, the number of heads plus the number of tails has to equal 24. That's our one equation. The second equation is right in the problem right here, which tells us that we had 4 more heads than tails. So number of heads that we had was whatever number of tails was plus a 4 more. There you go. We have 2 linear equations. Obviously we can solve for the 2 variables. In the real exam we're not going to be foolish enough to actually sit there and solve for it. Solve for t and h. We simply would realize that it is doable. Since the first statement by itself will allow us to solve for t and h, we'll be able to tell how many heads we had. And therefore first statement by itself is sufficient. A, D, B, C, E. Because the first statement by itself is sufficient, we know answer cannot be B, C or D. It would have to be either A or D. Let's look at second statement. In the second statement they tell us that, so second statement a little bit more, I'm going to do second statement separately. What I'm about to do something, we're just going to do it purely for learning purposes. As far as the exam is concerned, that's it. We're done with the first statement. The 2 linear equations, it can be solved for 2 unknown very easily. Just substitute this variable here and solve for it. They're asking how many heads. Well, there's the head. It says we had 4 more heads than tails, so head is equal to 4 more than t. Let's just substitute this equation in here. H equals t plus 4. T plus 4 equals h. And t plus t is going to be 2t. Subtract 4 from both sides, it gives you 20, and t equals 10. If t equals 10 and the total is 24, h must be 14. You see? It's very easily solvable. Only takes a couple of seconds even if we were to do it out. But it wasn't necessary. Let's look at second equation. In the second equation they tell us that head is worth 3 points. Heads are worth 3 points. And tails are worth 1 point. And they also tell us the total points. Total points was 52. Well, that's our equation right there. The total number of points is 52. So if we have h number of heads, h represents the number of heads, and each is worth 3 points, so 3 times h will be how many points the heads were worth, plus if you have t number of tails, and each is worth 1 point, so it's just t, this total better be 52. There you go, that's your first equation. And the second equation is same as before. Should have raised it. We had 4 more heads, so head is 4 more than the tail. There you go. Same exact situation, substitute one for the other and solve for it. So here, let's substitute for t. So t equals h minus 4. Let's put it in here. The reason I substituted for, we're substituting t here as opposed to before where we did h is because it's easier, it's quicker, it's efficient. For 2 reasons. First of all, I wasn't too keen about having to multiply it by 3 here. Secondly, when we substitute t in here, we get the value for h, which is exactly what they're asking for. We're not interested in how many tails we had. So t equals h minus 4. 3h plus h is 4h. And you add 4 to both sides to get rid of this 4 and it will become 56. So h equals 56 over 4. 56 over 4. How many 4s in a 5? 5 has 1 4. The remaining one goes and joins the 6, becomes 16. How many 4s in a 16? 16 has 4 4s. You see, same as before. Obviously, it's not going to be different. Before we found out that they had 14 heads and 10 tails. That's exactly what we have here. So each statement by itself is sufficient. And therefore, second statement is also sufficient. Since each statement by itself does the job, the answer is D. That's all. I was actually planning to do one more because this was too straightforward and too simple a problem, but then the next problem that I looked at, 143, is not the sort of problem I want to mix it up with this one. 143 is the sort of problem that deserves to be done by itself because it is nasty with a capital N. Do you understand? I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye now. Try doing 143 on your own first before you watch the video, okay? Bye now.